Back during the holiday season's gauntlet of parties and events, a colleague pulled me aside from the buffet table with a question about my rather public social media feed. Namely, aren't you afraid it's costing you business? For those who may not remember, by day and night, since I'm self employed, I'm a real estate agent. That means my personal business and bottom line depends on a network of relationships and trust that I've built over the years. Not all that different from my work as an independent writer, except in one very prominent way. Axiomatic among real estate agents is the idea that you must never, ever express controversial or political opinions, that to do so will cost you the business of anyone you disagree with, so it's better to keep your opinions to yourself and focus on what's important, making bank. It's the gold blazer Lexus SUV version of Michael Jordan's infamous declaration against taking a political stand: Republicans buy sneakers too. Unsurprisingly, my belief about that axiom is fuck that. I started my career as a realtor almost exactly 10 years ago, just a few months before Trump launched his presidential campaign with a racist lie, and I watched as the nation declined to take his buffoonery and belligerence seriously. I'm glad my exit from the full time journalism world coincided with that disaster. I can't imagine having to cover this mentally diseased motherfucker day in and day out for a living. Since the man never shuts his lying orange gob, it doesn't matter what your beat is as a reporter, the mad wannabe king will insert himself into it. Now, here we are in 2026, 10 years after the United States collectively decided to stick a fork in an electric socket and see what happens, and this time Americans decided to see if sticking their dick in the socket might work out better. That's all my profane way of saying I don't give a fuck if my opinions cost me business. It doesn't take much of a search to find my decades long history of opinion and humor writing. I have no problem working with people of different political beliefs. Hell, I used to enjoy talking to and debating with conservative friends and colleagues over the course of my life, at least until Trump came along and Republicans ruined their goddamn minds. And Lord knows I have worked with clients in real estate who have starkly different opinions and outlooks than I do. I'm here to help people conduct real estate transactions, not run a political salon. That said, I've dropped a landlord client when I realized they were racist and homophobic. That's not money I want. If I found myself dealing with a Trump supporter who looks around at the current state of the nation, with our marauding secret police snatching up brown people, those same police murdering two people in broad daylight, and a president hell bent on acquiring Greenland because he didn't get a medal, and then says, I like this, I'll fucking drop them too. Because many of my past, present, and future clients have been and will be at risk under these racist, fascist policies. This stance by myself and others causes a lot of confusion and butthurt for conservatives who have spent years promoting the right to refuse service to queers and sluts, then whine about how no one wants to play with them. Fuck them. They made this world what it is right now, and frankly, they can suck on it. Could I bring a little more tact and a little less profanity to my public utterances? Sure, I could, but I won't. Here's the thing. This level of pure anger I'm feeling and expressing is new to me. Again, my entire body of work is out there. I have a long history of using humor when dealing with political subjects, even life or death subjects. Looking back over my time with ACT UP DC and in AIDS activism in general, there was still a sense of joy and play in the face of terrible events that were killing us and hateful politicians who were dehumanizing us. Perhaps I'm too old and jaded at this point, but finding joy in the madness around us is beyond me at the moment. Though bless the freaks and weirdos and other glorious human beings who've donned frog costumes and pony costumes to bring a touch of the absurd to protests against fascist pricks. There's another mode of expression that I'm actually well trained and versed in. It's the slightly above it all, examining all sides, eminently reasonable, and ultimately morally vapid American newspaper op-ed voice. Print may be dead, but the implacably centrist both sidesism of the commentary class will never die. I can and have used this voice in the past in ways I've come to regret. I don't personally believe that I ever had a level of importance in my little corner of the media world that would confer guilt on me for our present situation, but I could give you a list of people who have had it and do bear responsibility for our media's ongoing inability to take seriously the crumbling of the constitutional order. So, I've lost my sense of humor when it comes to ICE brutalizing citizens and non citizens alike. I've repudiated the Solomonic and soporific narrative that is the American political commentariat I once aspired to be part of. What's left for me to do? Apparently scream, "fuck this shit, you fucking fascist," on every social media channel and webpage that I have. It's not graceful or poetic or timeless in its beauty, but it's true, and that counts for something. Has it cost me business? Possibly. Do I care? Not one fucking bit. I have had a lot of privilege in my life when it comes to work. I spent less than a year working in truly corporate media in my early career, and that was too much. Beyond that, I've had the luxury of working for people who are on the same page as me, or more often, working for myself. I also have a measure of personal safety and insulation from that potential loss of business. It would be immoral of me not to use my voice in whatever way I can, given that privilege. Have I lost other things? Definitely. About a week after the killing of Charlie Kirk, I got summoned to a realtor tribunal about my social media posts and whether I could continue in a leadership role. I was presented with a selection of Facebook posts I had made and told that questions had been raised about my use of profanity. That was pretty funny because not all the posts contained profanity, but they sure as hell were all political. Ultimately, I was made to do a song and dance defending my post, which I did because I stand behind what I write, profane or not. And they decided I could continue, and I decided I wasn't really interested in being in leadership anymore. Star Chambers will do that. Still, in the grand scheme of the ongoing decline of the US of A, that is some small fucking ball. Boo hoo for me, someone tried to slap my wrist, and then I just continued doing what I was already doing. Though perhaps with a little more gusto because I can be a petty little bitch when I want to. Meanwhile, ICE and Border Patrol are snatching people off the streets because those people are brown or speak with an accent. They're shooting, beating, tear gassing, and straight up murdering citizens who follow and document their abuses. They're disappearing citizens and non citizens alike. The Department of Homeland Security, that bastion of nativist blood and soil bullshit since its inception post 9/11, lies with impunity about their actions and the people they abduct, their only goal being to get overly credulous mainstream media and ass-kissing conservative media to repeat those lies in hopes that they'll take hold in the population. All I have right now in the face of that is my voice. Perhaps if things continue to decline, there will be other things I need to do, following in the footsteps of the Minnesotans who continue to demonstrate heroism by the minute. Until then, I can speak and I can write. Even if the only people who hear me are those who agree with me, we need to reinforce and support each other as we fight to bring our country back from the brink. The alternative is to keep my head down, my mouth clean, and my mind focused on the great capitalist goal of making money at the expense of everything and everyone else. Fuck that.